Now then, welcome to the Pokeball building tutorial. Before we start, you're going to want some glue, maybe some activator, and some paper towel. To start off with, you've got two halves. Your top half is the half with the clip, bottom half without. Top half also has a notch in the back where the hinge goes. And with your hinge, you're going to want to place it so that the textured surface is up married to the textured surface on the top part of the lid. Fitting as shown, you're going to want to use preferably epoxy if you have it, because it will be stronger, but you're going to want to use more glue than I did here because I had to redo it later. Now once you've got it glued in, just marry up the ring just to make sure it's centered. A little wiggle here and there to make sure it'll fit right. It doesn't have to be exactly perfect, there's a few mil either way of play. And just wait for it to dry before messing with it later, but for now we'll get on the other half, put all that together. So with the bottom side, you've got your three notches in it that marry up to the 3 pegs on the bottom side of the ring, so you can't really go wrong with this section. Just slap a load of glue on there. If I had some more glue, if it wasn't so empty. I like to give her a good push just to make sure the glue's spaced out enough. A bit of pressure does help. Now with the button mechanism, it's very important that the latch on the button goes up into the other section. You do not want it to point down into the bottom section that you're about to put it in. So put the ring over the button, the ring locks it into place once it's in the slot. But again, making sure that the notch is pointing up. It should just slot in and be secure for you. There is also a small hole on the back of it. If you want to put a small spring in there, a spring out of the pen works well, you have to cut it and jam it in, makes opening and closing it a little bit easier, less fiddly. Unfortunately, I can't include the spring in the kit because I don't have a source for them. And once you've got that in, just glue both rings together. That'll fully clamp in the button. Make sure that you don't have it twisted too far one way or the other so that the button has free movement. Once that's done, hopefully your hinge is dry enough to be used by now. We're going to start working on the decorative trim. The decorative trim on the luxury ball is a bit of a pain compared to all the other balls because there's so many very thin parts. But it's not too bad. Once you get some glue on there, get the parts on in the right order. It's pretty obvious they'll fit on one way really. Once you've got that on, your best bet is to use some tape, something that'll fit on there, hold it securely, just to give it enough pressure to get a really good bond. Once it's on, but it can be fiddly doing it with your hands and holding everything until it's dry. If this was, say, a Charizard ball, an Eevee ball, it's fairly obvious where the parts go on the wings or on the ears, etc. But if you ever need help, just let me know. I'll send you some pictures, no worries. As you can see, I was struggling trying to get it on there properly, so I ended up putting I think it was a book with a towel under it just to hold everything together for a while. Now the really fiddly part, just have to check that the button's still got some movement. Doing the extra decorative trim around this ball, this is a pain to get it straight. Make sure that the part with the notch goes on the correct half of the ball before you start, because once it's on there it's very difficult to take it off. You just want to do a very thin layer of glue. Try and be careful, the more glue overspills, the more white stains that you have to clean up later. Quite a fiddly process. This is why it's better to have some activator if you've got it. It speeds it up significantly. Once you have around it, just try your best to line everything up as perfectly as you can. Again, it can be quite fiddly, but it's not too bad. Any overspill, just a bit of paper towel, clean it up. No problem. You can see there towards the front, I've got a few plobs of overspill. Clean it up now while it's still wet. It makes life a lot easier than doing it when it's dry. Same again on the other side. Apologies if you bought the luxury ball, it is by far the hardest to put together. But it is probably the best looking out of the bunch. So. For me, it's between the luxury ball and the Charizard ball. Now the insert with the hinge, the little part you can see just inside the ring there, there's two different sizes I included for you. There's the small one that fits exactly. You can just give it a tiny dab of glue or just leave it without glue if you prefer. I don't put glue in there. With the longer one, I've done that just so you can squash the ends in with either, personally I use a soldering iron, so you get mechanical fastening that way. About 100 degrees on your soldering iron, perfect for it. Just give it a small squish on one side and a small squish on the other. But a tiny dab of glue on one end is perfectly fine, however you'd like to do it. Or you can just leave it loose. If it's going to be a decorative piece, you know, it's not going to get messed with that often. Perfectly fine. And there you have it. I hope this tutorial helped. Again, if you have any questions, leave a comment or you can find me on my store. Thank you very much for your purchase and I hope the ball does you well.